Hello and welcome back to another Football Commentaries live stream. As the Premier League season edges towards its climax, we still have two more games to decide the European places and who will take that final relegation spot. Here at St James's Park, Newcastle take on West Ham, with one trying to finish in the top half and have a slight chance of a European spot, and then on the other side West Ham looking to simply stay in the division. Eddie Howe has come under some scrutiny during this season with question marks over his future. Currently slumped in 14th in the table, Newcastle has finished 5th, 7th and 4th in their previous three campaigns, but form all year has been inconsistent, even more so as of late, with just one win from their previous six. For the Hammers, it is now or never. 2 points behind Spurs. Not winning today would allow Spurs to relegate them when they travel to the Bridge on Tuesday night when they take on Chelsea. Two defeats in a row for Nuno's side have slowed down West Ham's chances of survival after a run of before those two losses they hadn't lost in their previous three, with wins against Everton and Wolves. The reverse fixture at the London Stadium saw a West Ham victory with a 3-1 scoreline. Newcastle took the lead early on via Jacob Murphy, but goals late on in each half saw the Hammers get their first win under Nuno Espirito Santo. As the end is in sight, can Newcastle finish their season off at home with an 18th home win of the season in all competitions, or will West Ham pile the pressure on Spurs and win to get themselves out of the bottom three? For Newcastle, there is a slight hope of European football, because 8th position now is a Conference League spot due to Manchester City winning the FA Cup yesterday. Brentford are currently in 8th position on 52 points, as Newcastle are currently in 14th on 46 points. So if Newcastle were to win today and also win away at Fulham on the last day, depending on other results, which would mean a lot would have to go in their favour, there is a slight chance of that European spot, but in all honesty, it probably won't happen for Newcastle. I think their aim will just be to try and finish in the top half, which I think will be a success in the sense of the form that they've been in during the season to get themselves in the top half. I think will be seen as a decent end to the season, but a disappointing one altogether. I think if they were to finish the season in the bottom half and not even find themselves in the mix of those teams that were pushing for Europe, that does let off the alarm bells. But they have had a heavy season, Newcastle, this season. 56 games they've played this season altogether, of course, with that run in the Champions League, which got them to the last 16, getting knocked out by Barcelona. I also get the sense to me that they've almost just kind of hit a block. Newcastle, they've been on such a rise in the last three seasons, as we mentioned, finishing in those advanced spots and, finishing in 5th and 7th and 4th. It's almost just like they've kind of just ran out of steam, and almost like just a bit of a reset is needed for the start of next season. Almost just seeing this season as a slight write-off, just almost forget it and let's just move on and start fresh next season. Will be that with a new manager? We'd have to wait and see. There's been talks of Eddie Howe and his future. It seems like more so that it's going to be Eddie Howe staying on, but things could certainly change. And for West Ham, it's simple. They've got to win. I mean, a draw doesn't really do much. It definitely doesn't do anything if Spurs win on Tuesday night when they take on Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. So it's pretty much a must-win game for West Ham United, who take on Leeds United next week at home. So they'll have a home fixture if it goes down to the last day, but it very much rides on what West Ham do today. And if they can't do the business today, West Ham, they'll be watching very nervously on Tuesday night when Spurs travel away to Chelsea. For Newcastle, they'll go to Fulham at the end of the season, away from home at Craven Cottage. Fulham, again, in and around the European spots, not quite in the advanced position to probably get that Conference League spot, but there has been a few slip-ups today, and that does include Fulham drawing 1-1 away at Wolves. It's a poor result for Marco Silva and Fulham, and Everton as well. I mean, they've had a really poor end to the season, losing their last home game to Sunderland. So it's massively opened up for the likes of Sunderland, who beat Everton, Brentford as well, despite them slipping up with a draw at home to Palace. They're still right in the mix to finish in Europe. Brighton as well, losing late on to Leeds, but still are in a good position due to the results that have happened below them. And of course, Bournemouth on Tuesday night have got a massive chance to get Champions League football. If they beat Manchester City, they'll firstly they will hand over the title to Arsenal, because they'll more than likely win tomorrow against Burnley, but then also they'll shut the gap to 1 point on Liverpool. So there's so much still yet to be determined in the Premier League, and the fact we've got, some have got 2 games left and others have just got the 1 game, it's just shown how tight in certain areas of the table it's been this season as both players walk out. And I have got Bruno Guimaraes labelled as the captain for Newcastle, because that's what was labelled on their Twitter when they announced the lineups. But due to it being his last home game, Kieran Trippier, who was formerly the club captain, he's been replaced by Bruno Guimaraes. He's been given the captain armband for his last game here at St James's Park, leaving at the end of the season. Kieran Trippier turning 36 in September. This is his 225th Premier League appearance. I mean, for Newcastle, he's playing his 160th game for them as well. He's been a fantastic servant since joining all the way back in January 2022. And of course, West Ham being led out by their captain, Jarrod Bowen, who's not scored in his last 12 Premier League games. We'll go through both sets of starting 11s, and it's 3 changes for Newcastle since their 1-1 draw away at Forest last week. It's Nick Pope in goal, appearance number 130 for him in the colours of Newcastle. A back 4 of Kieran Trippier, Malik Chow, Sven Botman and Lewis Hall, who goes back to left back after playing last week at right back. 2 other midfielders of Bruno Guimaraes, who's scored 9 league goals so far this season. He partners alongside Sandro Tonali. 3 behind the striker. On the right-hand side will be Jacob Ramsey, who comes in for Jacob Murphy. On the left-hand side is Harvey Barnes, who scored 2 in his last 2, both off the bench against Forest and also in their previous game in the win against Brighton. And in the number 10 position is their number 27, Nick Voltemade, who's got 7 league goals this season. His last a brace against Chelsea back in late December. And leading the line through the middle is William Asula, who's got 3 goals in his last 5, and he is starting his 6th Premier League game in a row. As for West Ham, it's Mads Hermansen in goal. It's a back 5 with the 3 centre-backs of Axel Disasi, Konstantinos Mavropanos and Jean-Claire Todibo, the Frenchman making his 50th Premier League appearance of his career. And it's 2 wing-backs of Aaron Bissaka on the right and El Hadji Malik Diouf on the left. 2 central midfielders of Thomas Soucek and Mateus Fernandes, with 3 up front. On the right-hand side is Jarrod Bowen. On the left is Crescencio Somerville, who's not scored in any of his last 5 league games that he's played in. And through the middle, joining on a free from Newcastle in the summer, it is Callum Wilson. He scored 49 goals for Newcastle in just 130 appearances in his 5-year stint at Newcastle. But he's here for West Ham. He scored just 1 in his last 14, and that was a 92nd minute winner against Everton around 3 weeks ago. Now he almost scored an extra goal in the league this season last weekend when he had the ball over the line against Arsenal, but it was, of course, ruled out for that foul on David Raya, of course, causing crazy controversy in the Premier League that moment last weekend, not just in terms of the title race, but, of course, as well for West Ham and their relegation push. If they were to win today, they go on to 39 points, and they would go above Tottenham by a point. But, of course, Spurs do have that game in hand when they take on Chelsea on Tuesday. I mean, that game is going to be massive at Stamford Bridge, and it's going to be huge if West Ham win, lose or draw today. Nothing can be guaranteed for West Ham today, but they can put themselves in the best position possible, as they will be taking on Leeds at home in the last game. Spurs will be taking on Everton at home, who don't really have much to play for now, Everton, after that loss to Sunderland. So it's going to be an interesting final day. It's going to be West Ham to kick us off, kicking left to right, Newcastle right to left, both teams in their home strips for this game this afternoon. It'll be Fernandes for West Ham playing all the way to the edge of the 18-yard box to Mads Hermansen, who will send it high down the West Ham right-hand side up towards Wilson, header won by Botman. It will dribble through into the centre circle to Diouf, their left wing-back, who will go back into his own half 5 yards to Todibo. He's now across to Mavropanos, who's got Disasi with him. He goes forward, cut out by Tonali just in front of the halfway line. He's now forced his way out to the near side. It goes inside to Voltemade, the back out wide to Ramsey, down the line for Tonali, looking for a pass in the middle to Guimaraes, intercepted, but drops back for Newcastle through Voltemade, and they work it back to the halfway line towards that far side with Malik Chow, their number 12, brought in the summer from AC Milan for just over £34 million. He scored the one goal this season at home in the Premier League. Malik Chow, that was in their 2-0 win against Palace at the start of 2026, as it's Newcastle who started the brighter. It's a dummy from Guimaraes. It's Asula on the ball, trying to get away from Mavropanos. The foot's in, but the ball dribbles through to Voltemade, about 25 yards out. Goes 5 yards behind it to Tonali. Tries to lift it out to the left-hand side for Ramsey. Just too much height on it. And it'll go out for a throw-in for West Ham in a right wing-back position, which will be taken by Aaron Wan-Bissaka, their number 29. His first ever Premier League goal came here during his time at Manchester United. He's actually scored against them twice in his career. Wan-Bissaka, one here back in October 2020, then also another one here as well in their game against them last season. West Ham came here and won 2-0 back in November 2024. Souček got the first one to make it 1-0 in the 10th minute, and then Wan-Bissaka just after half-time got them their second goal. So half of his Premier League goals for Wan-Bissaka has come here, 2 of his 4. It's now West Ham on the balls, less than 2 minutes in, no big chances yet. It's in the centre circle with Mavropanos, being closed down by Voltemade, gets in between the lines for Bowen, who's just slightly drifted into a more central area, tackled fairly from behind by Ramsey, who now receives the ball from Tonali on this near side, in that left wing position, tries to cut inside, he's shoved off the ball by Wan-Bissaka. It's now Fernandes, forward to Bowen, gets it under control, he's not got many options ahead of him in terms of advanced runs, plays it 5 yards to his left to Somerville. On the far side, he's now due forward from left wing back. It's Somerville. Everyone behind the ball for Newcastle, as it's Matheus Fernandes with it. Had that big chance against Arsenal last weekend. Deep into the second half, it was well saved by Riot. As it's now with Mavropanos just inside the centre circle. A lifted ball out to the right-hand side, looking for Wan-Bissaka, who can chest it down and brings it away from Hall. And then plays it inside to Souček, completes the 1-2. Here's Wan-Bissaka again towards the byline. Cross goes in. It's a header away on the penalty spot by Trippier, headed back into the area by Disasi, seen behind for a goal kick by Pope. It's less than 3 minutes in here at St James's Park. It's Newcastle 0, West Ham 0. Both teams starting brightly. Newcastle with the possession in the opening minute and a half, and then West Ham having their own spell of the ball in the next minute and a half of the game. In the left-back position, it's Lewis Hall, who played right-back last weekend in their 1-1 draw away at Forest. Ramsey goes back to Pope. It has to be cleared away first time in his 6-yard box after pressure from Wilson. It'll be chased down by Asula in the West Ham half. Mavropanos needs to deal with it. He's tripped from behind. The referee doesn't see that. It's now Asula in the area. Onto the edge of the box. Lays it off. Ramsey on once more to his right to Guimaraes. Right side of the box is Barnes. He's got the overlap of Trippier. Barnes will cross it himself. It goes behind Asula. And it'll roll away for a Wan-Bissaka ball on this near side. I thought Mavropanos was caught there as he was trying to defend that first ball through, but the referee didn't see it that way as Wilson's touch is heavy. It's a throw for Newcastle just inside the West Ham half. It was running back towards his own goal there, Mavropanos, and there was just a bit of pressure from Asula, and the referee saw the motion of going to the ground is a little bit too soft, and then Newcastle went from the left side of the pitch to the right side. Barnes could have potentially played the overlap of Trippier, decided against it, and eventually the ball into the box was just behind Asula, as today's referee is Jared Gillett. Throwing for Newcastle on this near side, in front of the two technical areas. Hall throws it all the way back to the number 4 of Sven Botman, who's making his 8th start in a row in the Premier League. He was out with injury between November and December. He massively struggled with injury last season. He only played 8 times in the Premier League. Sven Botman as a ball through deep into the West Ham half, dealt with by Hermansen. Disasi forward to the halfway line. Wilson meets it with a touch, but as far as Guimaraes in the centre circle, goes into Trippier. Ball over the top down the right flank for Harvey Barnes, who will get there ahead of Todibo, just outside the area, forcing his way away from goal. And then playing it into Guimaraes, into the box to Ramsey, back to goal, lays it back off to Guimaraes, edge of the area. Finds a simple ball through to Ramsey. Trippier on that far side, has got Somerville closing him down. Finds the advanced ball to Barnes, who kicks it off to Todibo, and that's going to be a throw-in for Newcastle on that far side, with Kieran Trippier. Ramsey. It's that far side again. To Guimaraes. Trippier. Tonali's shifted his way across to help out his team to attempt to work across, and Guimaraes does just that. It's a left-footed volley by Mavropanos, throwing again in the final third for Newcastle, who are just putting a bit of early pressure on the Hammers' defence, not challenging Hermansen in between the sticks for West Ham, but you feel like their chance will come shortly. More than 50% of their home games so far this season in the league. Newcastle 9 from 18, winning 2 of their last 4, most recently against Brighton 3-1, and then against Manchester United also. Guimaraes trying to play it into space down the right side for Barnes. Can't quite get it under control, and it's a goal kick for West Ham with Mads Hermansen, who made his Denmark debut in the most recent international break when they were attempting to qualify for the World Cup, Denmark, which they failed to do. They lost to Czech Republic on penalties in the World Cup playoff. And it's Chow on the halfway line, winning the header on Wilson. As far as Diouf lifts it up towards Somerville. Good header by Trippier towards the edge of the 18-yard box. Headed down by Todibo to Diouf, who can hook it away from Barnes. And it's up towards Wilson, who will put Chow under pressure. It's cleared by Botman to the halfway line. Headed back forward by Souček. It's headed down by Botman to this near side to Hall, who will keep it in. But his pass is scuffed and it's sliced. And it's a West Ham throw-in midway inside the Newcastle half on this near side. It'll be taken by Wan-Bissaka, who throws it to the halfway line to Loney Axel Disasi, who's only ever been beaten once by Newcastle in his career, and it was here at St James's in a League Cup 4th round fixture for Chelsea back in October 2024, as Hermansen goes long to the halfway line, headed away by Botman, volleyed forward by Mavropanos out to this near side, free header for Botman. It's Disasi who can chest it down, brilliant piece of skill from the Frenchman. As he plays it down the right-hand side, it finds its way to Bowen, who's got Tonali chasing him from behind. The 2 footballs on the pitch. Tonali gets across him and can avoid the corner with the back heel, and it's kept in by Hall, and then the tackle from Bowen, throwing right next to the corner flag for Newcastle. Was breathing down his neck there, Sandro Tonali, as Jared Bowen tried to advance. He's only ever scored once against Newcastle in his career, Jared Bowen, in 12 previous attempts. That was in a 4-3 away defeat here over 2 years ago. Asula, who's just drifted to that right-hand side. He's battling with Todibo. Bit of grappling from both. Will the free kick go Newcastle's way? It won't. That's a surprise. I mean, both were being physical, but I think Todibo kind of overstepped the mark and probably should have been a free kick. Referee Jared Gillett says no. And it's now with Disasi on the right side. A ball forward and in behind for Wilson to give chase to. Even though he's getting older, he's still got that little burst of speed. Not quite enough to get there ahead of Botman in the final third. It's played back to Pope, and it'll be Newcastle on the ball from deep. Like I said, just 1 win in their last 6 in the Premier League for Newcastle. Went for a very sticky patch from the back end of March to the back end of April, losing 5 games in a row. And that form hasn't exactly improved that much, but at least they're not losing. Drawing their last to Forest, then winning their last one here to Brighton by 3-1. They're unfortunate to not win the game against Forest, conceding an 87th minute equaliser from their former player, Elliot Anderson. That's the downfall for West Ham, is their goal difference is so much worse than Tottenham's, and it could be getting worse here. Voltemada down the right side of the box, being forced away from goal by Mavropanos, who gets a foot in. It's a corner for Newcastle on the far side. Well won by Nick Voltemada, who's had a very up and down season here at Newcastle. As they go short and then they work it to the edge of the area, Guimaraes with a ball in, and it almost goes all the way through. But it won't get beyond Hermansen. And it's a West Ham ball, just over 10 minutes in, still goalless. Again, we're still waiting the first big chance of the game. Souček in the middle, just before the halfway line. He crosses the halfway line. He's still waiting for his next pass. He's got Wan-Bissaka to his right. Souček continues to drive forward, then plays Wan-Bissaka, goes for the early ball into the back post. No one's there attacking it. It's not the worst ball. Just no one there. And Trippier can calmly play it down the right-hand side up towards Asula, who slips and goes through to Mavropanos, who plays it forward to the halfway line to Fernandes. Time on the ball here for the Portuguese international. His pass cut out, though, by Chow as he was aiming for Wilson. It's now Asula beyond the halfway line, centre of the pitch. He tries to take on Mavropanos, which he does. Asula on his own, onto his left foot. He strikes from the 18-yard line. Comes off Disasi, and it'll be a corner on the far side for Newcastle. He's certainly got that raw ability in him, William Asula. Has a step over and a touch away from Mavropanos and Fernandes. Bit of a wild strike in the end. It has got the deflection, though, so will be a corner for Newcastle. Questions of a handball. It did take a slight nick off the arm of Souček, that Guimaraes cross, who was just having a hold of Barnes, and it has come off his arm. Certainly seen them given, and I think VAR are checking. It was just in a little bit of an unnatural position there from Thomas Souček. He was kind of holding Barnes to his side, and then he let go of Barnes, but his arm was still kind of outstretched. It's glanced his arm, and the VAR have cleared the possible check for a penalty. Certainly seen them given, but not today, as it's a corner to the back post. Botman with the header. It comes off Mavropanos, drops to the edge of the area to Somerville, who is stopped in his tracks by Guimaraes. It's then played forward by Souček to Wilson, who can't get around Chow, and then played forward by Trippier to Barnes on the right-hand side. Enters the box. Barnes. Ball across, it comes off the boot of Mavropanos. Voltemada on the edge of the area. Can't turn away from Fernandes, who then goes over the challenge. Won back by Voltemada. He's got Hall out to the left. It's played to him via Tonali. Midway side, the West Ham half. It's Hall who gets the ball returned to him from Tonali. Ramsey playing it into the space of Hall towards the byline. He can cross it to the near post. It's cleared by Disasi, controlled by Fernandes. Played forward by Bowen to Wan-Bissaka. Caught in possession. Tonali 1-2 with Hall, and the cross comes off Disasi. Corner for Newcastle. It's been a good start from the team in black and white. VAR is Craig Pawson. He's the one who had a look at that and cleared the potential handball from Thomas Souček. Guimaraes near post, last touch off Asula, and that's a goal kick wide of the post. I think it came off Bowen first, who was defending, came off Bowen, and then off Asula, who was running across him. That is an absolute massive call on that handball, by the way. Because Souček's holding Barnes, and then he lets go of Barnes, but the arm's still out in an unnatural position. And it's not a question of if it touches his arm or not. It certainly does. That's a big call. It really is. I mean, Jared Gillett wasn't sent over to the monitor, so the referee on the pitch hasn't had a look. It was checked and cleared by Craig Pawson. Interesting. Very, very interesting stuff. As we're back underway, Hermansen with a left-footed ball lifted down the West Ham left. It's chested down by Trippier, straight to Somerville, who's midway inside the Newcastle half. It's a tackle from Trippier, and it finds its way forward to Voltemada, who goes over the top, out to the left-hand side, where no one's made a run. And that'll be a throw-in for West Ham. Not quite sure what he was trying there. Nick Voltemada on his 50th Newcastle appearance. He'd played 4 times already this season before joining Newcastle at Stuttgart, the team he joined from. He scored once for them in the 3 appearances, he made for them before leaving. That was in the German Cup, as the ball's dropped to Voltemada in the area, and he volleys home. It's his first goal in the Premier League since late December here against Chelsea, where he scored twice. And on his 50th appearance for the club, Voltemada scores for Newcastle United just before the 15-minute mark. There is certainly so much potential in Newcastle's number 27. It's not gone all his way this season. He certainly showed glimpses, and that finish was very smartly done. It was Hermansen with a ball out to Tadibo on the left. It was overhit and it was picked up on that right-hand side by Barnes, who was able to drive into the area. Voltemada in the middle of the box on the 6-yard line, all on his own. Well found by Barnes. Just dinked it up for a simple right-footed volley into the bottom left corner for Voltemada. For a team fighting for their lives, that is a goal that is just too easy to concede. Nuno Espirito Santo furious. West Ham have got a huge mountain to climb. They trail at St James's Park. It's Newcastle 1, West Ham 0. On his own, in the middle of the box, 6 yards out. He couldn't miss. He placed it well, in fairness, Voltemada. But that defending is shocking as it almost drops in the box for Souček after a header from Wilson. Does Botman avoid the corner? He does. Throwing next to the corner flag for West Ham on this near side. Playing out from the back, West Ham, and it was what's cost them that opening goal. Hermansen with the ball to the left, just too much on it for Tadibo, and he almost tried to leave it for Diouf, who wasn't on the same wavelength. And that's what allowed Barnes to nick the ball and drive forward with it. For Voltemada. It's his 12th goal of the season, 11th for Newcastle, scoring that one in the German Cup before leaving to join for £69 million as Disasi wraps it in towards Bowen. The touch is loose, thrown for Newcastle, which is taken quickly by Hall to Botman. Tonali back out wide to Hall on this near side, going into the middle to Guimaraes, midway inside his own half. He opens up the body and lifts it out to the right-hand side to Trippier, forward from right back. Gets it in front of him and then plays it into the space for Ramsey in the area. Cross goes in, it's stopped by Tadibo. Throw in for Newcastle. On that far side, they've certainly been the better team in the opening 17 and a half minutes and probably deserve their lead. Tonali in a more central area, about 40 yards from goal. Everyone behind the ball for West Ham as it's a pass that's found its way to Barnes, the assist maker for the goal. He's usually been the one scoring as of late. Barnes, 2 in his last 2 off the bench. He's getting the start today. Chow in between the lines for Voltemada, one German international to another, and then he lifts it in behind for Barnes. A key touch from Mavropanos to send it away from the former Leicester man. And it's West Ham possession. And they stay 2 points off Tottenham in 18th position. Spurs currently taking up that final spot for safety. It's Chow from the long ball, heads it back to Nick Pope. Brilliant defending. And that's going to be a restart with Newcastle at the back on the edge of the 18-yard box of Botman, going across to his centre-back partner, Chow. Into the middle to Ramsey. Back into Guimaraes. Into Trippier, controls it after a lifted pass towards him, then down the line to Barnes, helped on to Guimaraes, then forward into the space for Ramsey, in through the middle to Asula. This is brilliant football from Newcastle, into the area, and he slots it home for 2. Newcastle double their lead. William Asula with 4 in his last 6 now. And it is relegation that is staring West Ham in the face as they go 2 down at St James's Park. Cut open too easily. Got to give credit to the Newcastle move for the goal. It was quick passing which penetrated the West Ham midfield and defence. I mean, the assist with the ball through the middle by Ramsey's brilliant. And just as he was entering the 18-yard box, Asula had the shot with the left foot. Did it go between the legs of the goalkeeper? It did. Underneath Hermansen. Between the legs. Slotted just towards the right side of the goal. And the Michael Jackson celebration comes out with the glove on the right hand. He's enjoying his football at the moment, William Asula. And As mentioned, that's 4 in his last 6 now in the Premier League. And West Ham have got to try and find some sort of hope and belief they can turn this around, because they've done nothing so far. But Bowen's broke away in the area and it's been toe poked behind by Botman for a corner. And they've got to turn this game around as quickly as possible, because Newcastle seem to be in the mood today. Nuno Espirito Santo just looks completely shell-shocked. It's going to be an in-swinger from Bowen with his left boot. Referee Jared Gillet's having a couple of words with some of the players in the box. As they try and surround Nick Pope. And the ball goes in. It's a header away and it will drop to Guimaraes on the edge of the box, who can thump it forward. Asula's going to give this chase. Asula's not going to stop running. Hermansen's had to come way out of his box and he's able to kick it back forward towards Wilson, who's chasing it down, and Bowen as well. Botman heads away, controlled by Bowen, swarmed by Newcastle shirts, but plays inside to Souček. Touch gets away from him, and in the left-back position, it's with Lewis Hall. After the ball was won back by Tonali. And here is the Italian. The ball forward down the middle of the pitch, controlled in the centre circle by Todibo. It's now on the far side to Diouf, still waiting for the first shot in this game for West Ham United, who have won just 4 of their away games this season in the league. 1 in their last 5, which was away at Craven Cottage at the beginning of March. Wan-Bissaka towards the corner flag, turns away from Hall and plays it into the area to Souček. Twisting and turning and crossing, which deflects to the edge of the box to Fernandes, who will strike it, blocked by Guimaraes. Drops towards Diouf on the far side. He pushes Trippier over and the free kick's gone Newcastle's way. 22.5 minutes in, Newcastle 2, West Ham 0. It was a win each last season, with the away team winning. West Ham winning here in the November 2024 2-0, then Newcastle winning at London Stadium in the March of 2025. Just a sole goal scored by Bruno Guimaraes. And here he is on the ball, the Brazilian. Completes a 1-2 with Ramsey and enters the West Ham half, and a ball through towards Asula, kicked away by Disasi on as far as Hall, who's forward from fullback. Ramsey switches it to the far side to Trippier. About midway inside the West Ham half, goes back to Tonali, now in the centre circle to Chow, shifting it to his left to Botman. Now with Hall facing towards his own goal, plays it across though to Chow. Definitely got a spring in their step with the early lead and gets in between the lines for Ramsey. Then a ball forward to Voltemar, the first time for Guimaraes, can't get it under control. And West Ham eventually clear it, but it cannons off Disasi for a corner. Simply moving the ball too quickly, Newcastle United, and West Ham can't deal with it. They're getting dragged and pulled in places they don't want to be. And there's a lot for Nuno Espirito Santo to try and work out in this game. Because as it stands, if Spurs are to draw or win at Stamford Bridge, they'll pretty much be safe. I mean, a win would confirm it. A draw would almost... Yeah, it would keep them safe, because West Ham's goal difference at the minute is -22. I think Spurs is -9. So if it stays like this, which is looking likely, a draw or a win will be enough for Tottenham. Is they're going to make an early change? Not yet, but Tati Castellanos will be coming on for West Ham United at some point. Will they be moving away from the 3 at the back system that they've started with? I know a lot of West Ham fans online were slightly worried with the defensive shape of the team for tonight's game. As it's Nick Pope on the ball for Newcastle in the 18-yard area. Out of the box it goes to Botman, who can run onto the ball and play it through the middle to Ramsey, who can turn forward, and he's got plenty of options to his right. Works it to Voltemada, then on once more to Barnes, who's got Trippier overlapping. He finds Trippier, who dinks it to the back post. No one's there for Newcastle. It's going to be dealt with here by Wan-Bissaka, who will lift it towards Bowen, goes down over the challenger Guimaraes, and that's going to be a free kick for West Ham United. My only thought will be that they're going to make an attacking change. It can't be like for like. And that's what they're going to do. So a centre-back coming off, Jean-Claire Todibo, on his 50th Premier League appearance of his career. This appearance is going to be cut short for tactical reasons. Todibo comes off for Castellanos. Ignores his manager. Not happy at all here, Todibo. Pretty much ignoring the coaching staff as well. I mean, he's got to understand that it's what's needed to be done for them to try and get back in the game. Just seems a little bit selfish of him to react like that. Of course you're going to be frustrated, but during their kind of lift of form, which hasn't been a big lift of form, but not losing as many times, the centre-back partnership more often than not has been Disasi and Mavropanos, so it makes sense for them to be the centre-back pairing today as they change to a back four, which they have done. So it's going to be two up front. I think Castellanos possibly just sitting a little bit behind Wilson, but certainly a 4-4-2/4-2-3-1 for West Ham United as Castellanos already commits a foul, showing his intent on the game. Pretty unfortunate probably to not start Castellanos, just due to that sheer work rate. He's got 4 and 11 in the Premier League since joining in January from Lazio. That's a second foul from Castellanos, who's going to have a talking to from the referee as he gives what he thinks to Guimaraes as well. The South Americans clashing, Castellanos and Guimaraes. Jared Gillett just letting Castellanos know that he needs to relax and calm down. You know, he's just come onto the pitch. No need to be taking anyone out early on. The ball's moving once more. Wilson on halfway through the legs of Bowen to find Tonali, who just dropped a little bit deeper towards the Newcastle back line. It's now been moved across to Malik Chow just in front of the 18-yard area for Newcastle. He's off to Trippier. He then goes back into his own area to Nick Pope. Relegated himself with Burnley a good few seasons ago, Nick Pope, so he'll know how these West Ham players will be feeling. Guimaraes skips away from Castellanos into the centre circle, forward to the right side to Barnes. First time layoff to Voltemada, goes down over the challenger. Souček, referee doesn't see the foul, and it'll be Somerville to drive forward with the ball. Takes on 2 Newcastle players, then brought down. Free kick for West Ham just before the halfway line. The guilty party of Bruno Guimaraes, whose last goal came here in their home defeat to Brentford back on the 7th of February. Made his 150th Premier League appearance in their last home game against Brighton, which was that 3-1 win. West Ham have it just inside their own half. It's Fernandez looking out to the left flank, and he finds Diouf, who's found his way into the Newcastle half. Chops back, finds Fernandez once more. Runs either side of him. He goes to Somerville on the left, who can get away from Trippier into the area. Byline, pull back. Castellanos, big save from Pope. Not cleared. Diouf slams it across. Another big save from Pope. And can be brought away down the Newcastle left channel. Massive double save from Nick Pope. It's overrun by Lewis Hall. Throw-in taken quickly by Wilson, who's the one chasing him down. Not had to do anything in the opening half an hour, Nick Pope. But when he's been called upon there, he's made 2 huge saves to keep Newcastle's 2-goal lead. And that's what it remains just under half an hour in. Mavropanos to the halfway line. He goes across to Disasi. Drives forward with the ball. Lays it off to his left to Diouf. And then back to Souček. He's just covering Disasi's centre-back position as he advanced forward. He clips out to the right side towards Wan-Bissaka. Controls it, but it's out of touch. And it's a throw-in in a left-back position for Newcastle. Let's have a look at these saves once more. Somerville with a burst beyond Trippier, pulled it across. Castellanos with a place finish, saved by Pope, diving across to his left, and then Diouf with the shot towards goal. I mean, the Castellanos finish wasn't a bad one, probably could have been a bit more to the corner. Pushed it out with his left hand, Pope. Now, there's so much more of the goal he can aim for, Castellanos. He still has to save it, Nick Pope, taking nothing away from that. Wilson holds it up against Botman, finds Bowen outside the area, right-hand side, low ball goes in. Chow can clear it, avoids the corner hole as he controls it, And then Botman is the one to eventually clear it forward. Headed on by Mavropanos. As far as Tonali. Can't find the ball to Ramsey. Diouf in a central area. Finding his way across to the right-hand side. Fernandez towards the left-hand side. Finds the runner Diouf in the final third. Gets his touch out and then delivers towards Wilson. Who heads it back across. Souček controls it. Can he shoot? He's bundling his way through, but he's been stopped by Guimaraes, who then goes down and over the challenger Fernandez. And that will be a throw-in for West Ham. No foul there on Guimaraes. And now they come into life. Nuno's made the early change with bringing on Castellanos for a centre-back, and they've looked a lot better. Somerville ball in towards Wilson, and he can't get it on goal. So close. They look loads better already. Need to get Somerville more in the game, because every time he's on the ball, it looks like something can happen. The ball in towards Souček, who was just in front of the penalty spot. It misses him, and it also misses Botman. And I think that took Wilson by surprise, and he couldn't get the shot on target. So it's 2-0 to Newcastle, but West Ham actually looking like they want to try and score in this game, which wasn't the case for the opening 25 or so minutes. Tonali on halfway. Header from him to Guimaraes, and the header on is picked up by Souček. Lifts it to the left side now to Somerville, who can look for Diouf, but it comes off Trippier. Well read by the Newcastle number 2, and that's going to be a throw-in for West Ham, taken by Somerville. Gets the ball returned to him from Souček. Now Fernandez on halfway, right on that centre circle spot. Looking out to the right side. It's Newcastle set up in a 4-4-2 to defending. Asula and Voltemada as the two strikers, with Barnes on the right, Ramsey on the left, and the two central midfielders are Guimaraes and Tonali. This is Wan-Bissaka on this near side, finding Bowen about 5 yards inside the Newcastle half. Inside to Castellanos, who dummies it to Wilson. Keeps it away from Chow. Wilson, forward to Somerville. Facing up one-on-one with Trippier. Still with Somerville in a more central area. Works it to the right to Wan-Bissaka. He lets it roll to Bowen. Wan-Bissaka overlaps him. Needing more movement there, Bowen. Goes behind him 5 yards to Fernandez. Somerville. Still across towards this right-hand side. Works its way to Bowen. And then back to Fernandez. It's West Ham who are now dominating the possession in this game. But they need to. They need goals in this game. They really do with winning, which is looking unlikely. But a goal could change the flow of the game. With Bowen plays it through into the box to Fernandez. One more to Castellanos, who slips as he shoots. And Voltemada can play it to Ramsey. Now with Hall at left back. Forward to Tonali. Then forward once more to Voltemada. Well worked out there by Newcastle. With Ramsey switching it across to Chow. Brilliant ball. Well defended by Newcastle as they search for a third. It's Trippier. Takes it away from the halfway line. Down this right channel. Plays it into the middle to Ramsey. On once more to Voltemada, who's already got one today, but he can't receive it. Wan-Bissaka intercepts. As Bowen to Wilson. Somerville can play Bowen through. The pass is poor. The pass is shocking. It will work its way back to Somerville. But that pass from Somerville's got to be so much better. Bowen's in. No question. Bowen's in. But he can't quite get it into his path. Good defending by Chow to intercept it. But that is a gilt-edged chance. He's got to play it the other side of Chow. West Ham, ball in the box. Castellanos, the angle is tight. He's surrounded by Newcastle shirts. And the last touch is off the hammer. And that's going to be a goal kick for Newcastle United. I mean, at least they've reacted. West Ham United. I mean, they shouldn't have really been going 2-0 down, if we're being honest. I mean, both goals have been so poor to concede. Voltemada in the 15th minute was completely free in the area as the ball went in the box. And then, I mean, the goal for the Sula 4 minutes later. I mean, the football for that goal was brilliant. It was quick. It was slick. But still, it was just too easy for them to do it. But it is West Ham now on top after their change. They've won it high up the pitch, but then given away by Fernandez towards the far side. It's now with Chow going back to Pope. And then across to Botman at left centre-back, who takes the heavy touch out of his 18-yard area. Then finds the ball to Guimaraes, who's got options left, right and through the middle. Beyond the halfway line in the centre circle. Passes it forward through the middle to Ramsey. Return to Guimaraes via Voltemada. Guimaraes lifts it for Asula, who tries to bring it down in the box, just slightly beyond the Dane. And it's going to be a goal kick for West Ham. Their first kind of sight of goal since the West Ham change for Newcastle, who've just had to kind of ride a little bit of pressure in the last 5 or so minutes. Guimaraes with the ball on the far side, midway inside the West Ham half. He lays it off to Tonali, then introduces Trippier. And then Tonali makes his way around. Trippier goes forward to Barnes, who's just inside the box on the right-hand side. Goes out of the area to Tonali, who crosses towards Asula. It's just gone beyond him, volleyed up in the air by Wan-Bissaka. Drops to the right boot of Fernandez, who can hook it over his head. Up towards Wilson, whose touch gets around Botman, but he can't get around Botman. Good defending from the Dutchman. And that's from Newcastle to go forward once more on this near side with Ramsey. Voltemade. Ramsey being closed down by Wan-Bissaka. Slightly aggressive, a push on the back. I think the referee would have given a free kick, but Newcastle have still got the ball. It's going to be play to continue for the Magpies. Barnes, just before the halfway line, goes 5 yards to his left to Guimaraes, who can enter the West Ham half. No pressure on him at the moment. Goes out to the left wing to Ramsey. Returns it to Guimaraes, who can then dink it out to the right-hand side. Well intercepted by Diouf with the header, but he can't quite keep it in. Throwing for Newcastle. We're still at 2-0 here, with 8 minutes left of the first half. Goal in the 15th minute from Voltemade, and 4 minutes later from Asula is the difference so far. Ramsey on the left-hand side towards the byline, pulls it across, and it's Mavropanos with the right boot up to get the clearance out for a corner. It's going to be taken by Bruno Guimaraes, who's racked up 25 Premier League assists during his time in the top flight. And he has actually retook the captain's armband. Trippier led the team out, but it is Guimaraes leading the team as captain on the pitch. Newcastle flood the near post, and Guimaraes goes to the back post where, left on his own, I think was Malik Chow, or was it Asula? I couldn't quite see who it was. Or was it Ramsey? I think it was Ramsey, the one who tried to beat Mavropanos, but it was the Greek international who got the last touch. So it's going to be a corner on the opposite side now for Newcastle, and it's going to be taken by Kieran Trippier on his final appearance here at St James's Park, leaving at the end of his contract in the summer. He's only ever won once against West Ham at home as a player, and that was when he came on as a late sub for Spurs all the way back in November 2016. Trippier, outswinger towards Botman, a header won again by Mavropanos, put back out wide by Tonali, as far as Souček, who can head it away up towards Fernandez. Hall gets the first contact, Souček gets the next one, playing it in behind the Newcastle defence. Guimaraes chasing, and he'll get there ahead of Wilson. Goes back to Pope, who can clear it first time, left-footed, deflects off the leg of Voltemade and falls fortunately for Ramsey, and Newcastle going to attack again. Barnes, who assisted the first, completes the 1-2 with Trippier. Oh, he can't quite complete it. Just too much on the return pass from Newcastle's number 2. And that'll be a goal kick for West Ham. 5.5 minutes left of the first half. It's Newcastle 2, West Ham 0. Goals from Voltemade and Asula, the difference so far. Drops out for a throw-in on this near side for West Ham with Wan-Bissaka. Thrown up towards Wilson, can't quite keep it on the pitch. It's going to be a throw-in just inside their own half here for Newcastle United. Hall to Ramsey, going all the way back to Botman, who finds Pope in his 18-yard area. Wilson will close him down. Pope's touch goes more towards his goal line. He eventually gets the pass out to his right to Chow. Somerville pressing Trippier, but he gets the ball inside to Guimaraes, who can move it on towards Voltemada. Not too close to him. Souček with a turn, and he's been chopped down. Free kick for West Ham. So free kick just towards the left-hand side for West Ham. About 35 yards out from goal. Fernandez is the right-footed option. Diouf is the left-footed option. It's a one-man Newcastle wall. Left arm up by Diouf, who will be the one to take it. In it goes with pace, too much pace. Straight behind for a goal kick for Newcastle. The area where the free kick went was the right area, but just hit too hard by El Hadji Malik Diouf, who did win the Africa Cup of Nations in January with Senegal. Of course, that's been stripped off them and given to Morocco, but of course, Senegal have appealed, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. It was the craziest game of football I think I've ever seen. That AFCON final, it was just absolutely crazy. As it's Botman, it goes back to Hall, who can then turn away from Castellanos. Great bit of skill from Hall, trying to go around Bowen, which he does do, and then has to turn back and plays it back to Tonali. Fantastic from Lewis Hall, who will definitely be in the thinking of Thomas Tuchel. Got his first 2 appearances for England under Tuchel in the March international break, Lewis Hall. His previous 2 were under Lee Carsley in the November of 24 as Somerville wins it back for West Ham on the left-hand side. Goes back to Fernandez. And to the far side to Diouf. Leaves it for Somerville. He's got options in front of him. Needs to try and shift it on if possible. 2.5 minutes left of the half. Here's Somerville. Can't get around Guimaraes. Kicked out for a throw-in. A goal before half-time here for West Ham would be absolutely massive. Disasi going across to his centre-back partner of Mavropanos. Has to leave it because it's overhit. Wan-Bissaka now on it on the halfway line. Having to go all the way back to Mavropanos and then back once more to Hermansen. Finds Disasi. Down the line it goes. Reaches Somerville on halfway. And then finds the runner Diouf around him. Diouf, early ball in. It's not a bad ball in the area, but no one's made the run quick enough. And collected by Pope, well read by the goalkeeper to be out early. Newcastle have it in a left-back position. Into the middle of the park to Ramsey. Just not quite getting the press right, West Ham. Seems like that ball in the middle is always on for Newcastle when they've got it out wide, either on the right-hand side or the left-hand side. Voltemada in a central area, about 25 yards out, just working its way to the right, then chops back inside and lays it off to Barnes. On once more to his left to Tonali. Barnes once more. Now Tonali. Everyone behind the ball for West Ham, other than Callum Wilson, the former Magpie. To the far side it goes to Trippier. Guimaraes offering support and then finding the ball forward to Voltemada. Returning it to Guimaraes. Trippier. To Voltemada, who's going to drive forward towards the edge of the box. Finds Barnes, who turns and shoots. It's almost a pass-like finish. Easy save in the end for Hermansen. Less than a minute of the 45 to go. Still Newcastle 2, West Ham 0. Big kick forward up towards Wilson. Goes beyond him and Hall. Bowen will chase the aftermath. It's Botman who will get there ahead of him and shielded out for a throw-in for Newcastle. And he's going to leave this for Lewis Hall to take. His dad and uncle of Lewis Hall from the northeast grew up as Newcastle supporters. So did Lewis Hall. Voltemada loses out to Wan-Bissaka. Now it's Disasi into the path of Diouf. On that left-hand side, about midway inside the Newcastle half, goes into the middle now to Fernandez. To this near side to Wan-Bissaka. Forward 10 yards to Bowen. Chopping onto that left foot and crossing. It's not a bad ball. It's a good header from Chow. It's controlled by Ramsey in the left side of the box. 3 minutes added on at St James's Park. Botman clears up towards Asula. It's Mavropanos to get there and play all the way back to Hermansen. And then Hermansen plays it beyond Asula, back through to Mavropanos. Fernandez just beyond the halfway line, try to slip it through and behind for Castellanos. It's through to Pope in a full blue kit this afternoon, and he can roll it forward to Guimaraes. Takes it on the turn, passes it forward to Barnes, then out wide to the right. Maybe a younger Trippier could have got there, but way too much on it. Was never going to reach it, and that's a throw-in for West Ham. Throwing all the way back to Hermansen in his 18-yard area. He's in a very fluorescent, almost yellow, like green kit for West Ham. Who are in their claret and blue as it's Fernandez sat between the two centre-backs. He goes to his left towards Disasi. It's actually ended up going to Diouf instead. Less than 2 minutes of the added on time. Hermansen goes direct. It's a header won by Botman. I feel like he's won everything so far this afternoon. Sven Botman, as it's Castellanos with a flick, never reaching his man. But then Fernandez intercepted, sliding across on the halfway line. 90 seconds to go. Fernandez lift the ball to Wilson, who can chest it down on the edge of the box. Loses out to Chow. And it's played back to Pope, who kicks it away right-footed up towards Asula. Goes beyond him, and it's Mavropanos again. Just over a minute left to go. Disasi. Just slightly shifting to the left-hand side. 10-yard pass forward to Somerville. Got Trippier tracking him all the way. Minute to go. Disasi. Across to his centre-back partner at the moment of Mavropanos. No pressure on the Greek international. As he comes this near side to Fernandez. Forward to Bowen. Just no West Ham player allowed any time on the ball in a decent position. Disasi bringing the ball forward from centre-back. Diouf takes over. Last touch off Asula, and that's a throw-in for West Ham. And they need to take hits quickly, and they do. They've got about 20 seconds left of this first half. And it's Mavropanos on the halfway line. Got to get it moving forward. Lifts it to the left-hand side. Somerville's offside. Castellanos is on. He will chase it. Trippier goes down over the challenge of Castellanos, and that's going to be a free kick in the right-back position. That'll probably see the end of the first half. And that will see the half-time whistle blown by Jared Gillett, and it's been a disaster of a first half for West Ham, who are in desperate need to win tonight, because if they don't, it allows Spurs the opportunity to relegate them on Tuesday night. It was Nick Voltemada who scored the first goal of the game in the 15th minute. It's his 8th league goal of the season. It's his first here in the Premier League since his brace against Chelsea back on the 20th of December. 6 yards out, right-footed, past volley into the bottom left corner. He was all alone unmarked after a fantastic cross from Harvey Barnes. And then just 4 minutes later, from back to front, Newcastle scored, playing right through the West Ham team with quick passing, quick movement, and the ball from Ramsey through the middle to Asula, found him one-on-one with the goalkeeper Hermansen, and he slotted it in between the two legs of the Dane to make it 2-0. And just 5 minutes later, in the 25th minute, Nuno Espirito Santo had seen enough of his back five system, took off Todibo on his 50th Premier League appearance, bringing on Castellanos. And after that, they had a good 10-15 minute spell where they were on top with possession. 2 big saves from Nick Pope in quick succession, saving a chance from Castellanos and also a cross/shot from Diouf. Other than that, West Ham have lacked any sort of prowess in front of goal. Things will need to change in this first half. Newcastle have been strong, West Ham have been weak, and the scoreline reflects the first half. As at the end of the first half, for half-time, it's Newcastle 2, West Ham United 0. It's a disaster, but they've still got 45 minutes to change it. If they draw, they will go 1 point behind Spurs, which will then, at least carry on the momentum for West Ham in terms of trying to just get points on the board, even though a point isn't exactly enough. If Spurs lose against Chelsea on Tuesday, then it leaves the door open. Still so much to decide, still so much to play for. I'm going to be back for for the second half. I'm going to take a quick 15-minute break. Make sure you're back for the second half, for live commentary of that. But for now, I'm going to take a quick break. But at half-time at St James's Park, it's Newcastle 2, West Ham 0. Hello, welcome back to the second half as Newcastle currently lead 2-0 at home to West Ham in a game that West Ham could do with winning, and they've really not shown any sort of belief that they could do it. They went behind early in the 15th minute for Voltamada, and then a second goal was conceded 4 minutes later through Asula. And then in the 25th minute, Nuno made a change to bring off a centre-back and bring on a striker. And then after that, they did look better. I mean, I still need to improve and get the ball in the net, which they nearly did, through Castellanos with a shot which was well saved by Pope. And then on the rebound, a little bit after, Juve had a shot which was also saved. But bar that, West Ham have not done enough. Got away as well with a penalty shout. Probably should have been given at 0-0 early on in the game, across from, what I'll say it was Guimaraes. But it was Souček who was holding on to Barnes, and then he let go of Barnes and almost put his arm out towards the ball, and it certainly came off his arm, and then the penalty wasn't given even though VAR checked it. I mean, the back end of the season in particular, all season I think VAR has been useless and rubbish, along with the referees, who I think are getting worse by the day. But some big conversations need to be held in the summer about VAR, because it's not going to go anywhere. It just won't. I can't see that happening. But some changes need to be made, rules need to be made, something needs to happen, because it's just not working at all. So many decisions, and it's not even like, it's, these decisions they're getting wrong are difficult ones where you think, you can sympathise. You can't sympathise. They're getting blaringly obvious decisions wrong. And what's worrying is they're getting so many looks at them, and they still can't get it right, because they're so obsessed with, following the laws of the game. It's just so confusing. It's like, I didn't watch the game personally. I was out, but I've seen the United goal. I think it was Cunha's goal, but in Burmo, in the build-up with the handball, he basically catches the ball with his arm, like his arm and hip, and it's not disallowed. And the explanation for that not being allowed, probably because Burmo wasn't the one who went on to score. But I don't think that goal happens if he doesn't control it the way he does. So it's completely bizarre, and it's worrying how bad the use of this technology is when we've had it for 7 years now. So we're about to get back underway anyway, after a slight little rant about VAR and how useless it is. But we've got a big half football to play. The next goal in this is massive if there is another goal. If Newcastle get it, game's done. If West Ham get it, they are right back in it. And Newcastle are to kick us off. Kicking left to right this time. West Ham right to left towards their away support, which are right up in the heavens. And it's an attack down the Newcastle right, swept up by Disasi. Cleared in the end by Diouf. Straight out of play, and that's going to be a throw-in for Newcastle in the final third. On this near side, I'm sure Eddie Howe will just want more of the same from his team. It was a very good first half performance, kind of rode the wave as well of the West Ham response when they changed their system to that back foot. And it's Voltamada to Trippier, lifts it into the box for Guimaraes, who chests it down for Voltamada, back through for Guimaraes, who I think was in an offside position, and he was. And that'll be a free kick for West Ham United to take. And funnily enough, for West Ham, 4 of their 6 clean sheets this season have come away from home, but the defending on display today was never going to get them that clean sheet. And for Newcastle, they've only kept 3 clean sheets here at home in the Premier League. Their last one was against Crystal Palace on the 4th of January. But they look like they could be picking one up this afternoon. Long ball from Hermanson, headed away by Chow, but there's an offside flag. I don't know how you can be offside in that sort of position. What he was, and that's going to be a free kick for Newcastle United, about 10 yards away from the halfway line. It's going to be taken by Chow. who goes short to Guimaraes. Back into Chow. Wanting to drive forward. He's got Castellanos on his shoulder, but he can work it to Barnes through the legs and into Voltemada. Got multiple runs ahead of him. Goes through the middle towards Asula. Overcooks the pass. Easy collection in the end from Mads Hermansen, who will roll it to his right, 10 yards to Mavropanos. Lifted ball down the right channel, looking for Wilson. Finds Wilson, who then is brought down by Botman, and Wilson will want to try and take it quickly if he can, and he will. Going back to Soucek and into the path of Mavropanos. Needing an early goal, West Ham United. Desperate need for a goal. Somerville receiving the ball from Fernandez. Diouf making a run on the inside. Tries to find him in the area. Diouf will get there. He goes down. Ball stays in play and eventually rolls out for a goal kick. Diouf stays down. Kind of involved in a bit of a Newcastle sandwich there. El Hadji Malik Diouf with Trippier and Chow. No, definitely not a foul for me in that. Trippier was on one side. Chow came over on the other side. Yeah, it was a slip. It was a slip from Diouf, which sent him to the ground. I think he's half hurting because I think a stud might have just trod on his finger, which will always hurt, especially the studs that some of these Premier League players use. Very, very sharp stuff, but certainly not a penalty. And it's going to be a goal kick for Newcastle. Just over 3 minutes into the second half. It will be Pope to go out to the right side of the area, just outside of it, to Chow. Now Trippier in the defensive third. First time ball forward. It's lifted beyond the head of Voltemada and Soucek to Disasi. And Mavropanos on halfway. Drill the ball to the left to Soucek, who can control it. Brings Somerville into play. Needs a bit more movement. It's just a bit static for West Ham. Fernandez playing it across to Mavropanos, just inside the centre circle. 5-yard pass to his right to Wan-Bissaka. Then into Mavropanos once more. Fernandez. Wan-Bissaka. Bit of sustained possession from West Ham, but finding it very difficult to break down this black and white of Newcastle wall. It's Disasi on this near side, bringing the ball forward. Took over by Diouf. It's now Fernandez. Trying to play it into the box towards Wilson. Can't control it. Chested by Hall. Turning away from Wilson in the area. Needs to get rid. Turning back towards goal. Wilson holding Hall holding on to it for too long. Eventually finds a short ball to Ramsey, then lifts it into Voltemada. The back pass towards Hall is poor. Ramsey tries to recover it, and eventually they do, but then won back by Wan-Bissaka into the path of Bowen. Right-footed ball as he tries to pull back, well dealt with by Guimaraes. Pokes it away out to the left-hand side to Tonali. He's got Wan-Bissaka to get around. Tonali driving forward, playing it inside to the halfway line to Asula. Back pass to Guimaraes, then a dink ball to Trippier. Well played by Newcastle United. Forward, Trippier fancying the cross in. It's an early one, it's overhit. And it'll run straight through for Tonali, who will keep it alive on the far side. Hall. Tonali, it's now Ramsey, who assisted the second goal for Asula. Guimaraes right on the edge of the area. Having to go back and out to the right to Chow. Space opening up for Trippier. He'll find Newcastle's number 2. Trying to find a ball to the edge of the box to Voltemada, nowhere near him. And Newcastle will have to defenders. Castellanos can bring it forward. It's just him and Wilson up. Diouf joining in. He'll look for Diouf. Pass just behind him, but he keeps it moving, going back to Somerville. And then inside to Fernandez. Could have been a little bit more dangerous, more quicker there, West Ham. But Fernandez is wanting to speed the attack up. Finding Diouf in the final third, left-hand side. Cross goes in deep to Wilson, who chests it down. And the Botman clearance comes off Wilson. And that's going to be a goal kick for Newcastle. Just took a little bit of urgency from Fernandez to speed up that attack, and it's just unfortunate for West Ham that the clearance off Botman came off Wilson. Yeah, kicks it off his chest. And that's a goal kick rightly given by the officials. So a slight pause in play as Tonali's down, receiving treatment. Just in a conversation with West Ham's Tati Castellanos, both formerly playing in Italy. Castellanos signing from Lazio for £26 million in the January window. Of course, Sandro Tonali been here for a good few seasons now, joining for £55 million from AC Milan. Only spent 3 years at AC Milan, despite being a fan of the club. It does look like this could be a serious injury for Tonali in terms of today, because it looks like he might not be able to continue. It's Joe Willock who's getting some tactical instruction from Eddie Howe. He's the only other central midfielder on the bench this afternoon for Newcastle. Joe Willock. Had started 2 of the previous 6. Joe Willock against Brighton and Arsenal. Just the 1 goal this season, and that was in the Champions League away at PSG in their 1-1 draw against the current holders of the Champions League, as it is Sandro Tonali's day run, and his day is done, and he's going to be replaced by Willock. Looks like it was a problem with his left leg. Not exactly sure what part of his leg. It could have even been his ankle. I couldn't quite make out what it was. But they're not wanting to risk him at the end of the season. They'll want him able to take his break in the summer due to Italy not making the World Cup, and then back for their pre-season when Newcastle will certainly want a better campaign than the one they're having this season in terms of league position. As we are 8.5 minutes in to this second half, it's still Newcastle 2, West Ham 0. Willock trying to get the ball from the Guimaraes pass, but it's a poor ball, and it's Somerville to now break forward for West Ham. He's got options to his right, none to his left. He's been tripped. Has he there by Ramsey? No, he hasn't. And referee allows play to carry on as it's in a right-back position with Jacob Ramsey. Bringing it more into a central position, then firing it out wide to his left to Hall, the left-back. Hadn't featured in any of the previous 2 games against West Ham. Lewis Hall, no minutes in the last 2. Made his 100th appearance for Newcastle. Last time out at Forest, when he played right back that day. As Disasi stops the ball going forward and in behind for Newcastle. And that's going to be a throw-in for the home side. Midway inside the West Ham half, thrown by Barnes to Voltemada. The touch isn't great. Cannons off the chest. And that's going to be a throw-in this time for West Ham United, who hadn't lost 2 games in a row in the Premier League since early January when they lost to Forest and Wolves, but of course had lost their last 2 in a row now to Arsenal and Brentford. Bit worrying away from home, their form really. They've lost 6 of their last 10 away in the league, West Ham United, since the end of December. Just 3 wins from their last 11 in the Premier League, 13 points from a possible 33. The highest position that Newcastle managed to get this season was 6th, and that was at the start of January, that very dramatic win at home to Leeds. And then since then it's just spiralled away from them, and European football just was getting further and further away. I mean, the run that really slowed down Newcastle was when they lost 9 from 12 Premier League games in a 3-month stint from January to April, when they picked up just 9 points from a possible 36. But they want to end the season strongly. Unbeaten in their last 2. Looks like that run can be stretched out to 3, as they look like they're going to avoid defeat today. Wan-Bissaka in the final third, right-hand side. Trying to find a ball inside and then has to spin back round and lays it off to Fernandez, who's out wide with him. Gets the ball returned to Wan-Bissaka. Fernandez forward to Bowen. Souček. Fernandez takes over in the area onto his left foot. It opens up for him and it's straight at Pope. Gets good contact on the shot, but a comfortable save in the end. Certainly would have stung the gloves of Pope, who couldn't quite hold it. Just patted it down in front of him. But it's a shot for West Ham, and it's one that they need to take more of. More shots on goal. This is Voltemada for Ramsey in the centre of the pitch. Lays it off to Guimaraes, out wide left to Hall. Voltemada makes the run around him as the overlap, finds him in the area, then back to Hall. Left-footed shot, it's palmed away by Hermansen. Back to Hall. To the edge of the area to Willock. Forward, great pass. Barnes with the shot, blocked by Mavropanos. It's now Guimaraes. Back out wide left to Barnes. Hall making the advance run forward. Barnes in the area, trying to play a pass. Gets it back to Guimaraes, who fancies a strike from afar, and it hits the roof of the net. Not far away, aiming for the far corner there. Guimaraes, not scored now in well over 3 months. Has the one goal against West Ham, and that was in their 1-0 away win against them last season at the London Stadium. Not too far away from Guimaraes, whose 30 of his 31 goals for Newcastle have come in the Premier League. Long kick from Hermansen, chested down by Hall, but straight to Wan-Bissaka. Pass forward and in behind for Wilson. Can he get there ahead of Chow? He can. Wilson tries to square it. That's a huge interception from Botman, who slides across. He has been superb today, Sven Botman. He really has. And that's a vital interception. As West Ham are just starting to knock on the door. As that's a foul. Souček on the back of Guimaraes, who's not happy with Souček. Yellow card for Souček for the aftermath. Guimaraes might also go in the book for his reaction. Just a slight hit out at Souček. Went right through the back of Guimaraes. It's a foul. And then Souček tried to carry on kicking the ball while Guimaraes had it in his hands. And then Guimaraes reacts with the few slaps at Souček. I think Guimaraes has got every right to react the way he has. No idea why Souček tried to continue to play the ball when the ball was clearly dead in Guimaraes' hands due to the referee blowing his whistle. I mean, could Wilson have took that on his own? He tried to square it to Castellanos. Probably should have had the shot there. I think Guimaraes has also been booked, which I get why, because you can't react like that, but I can understand why he has. Visibly frustrated there, Bruno Guimaraes. I assume he's been booked. It's not been confirmed yet on the screen. Souček definitely was yellow carded. He has been sent off this season, Souček, in that home defeat at the start of the season to Tottenham Hotspur. Got a good record goal scoring wise against Newcastle, Souček. 5 in his previous 12, 3 in his last 5. 2 of them away and 3 of them, 2 of them at home and 3 of them here at St James's in the 5 he scored. Just over half an hour to go. Botman towards the corner flag, spins on Somerville and plays it down the line for Hall. Touch comes off Bowen. Thrown for Newcastle, taken quickly down the line by Hall to Voltemada. Kicks off the face of Mavropanos. And that's a throw-in for Newcastle, taken quickly. Chow. To this near side now to Trippier. He's got Willock on this near side and he goes forward to Barnes instead. Tries to get it out wide to Willock. It's misplaced. Somerville trying to go around the outside. A Trippier runs out of space. And that's going to be a throw-in for Newcastle as they're going to make their second change of the day. Their other January signing, Pablo from Gil Vicente, will be coming on. Botman just outside the 18-yard box. Misplaces a pass. Picked up by Wan-Bissaka. Bowen. To Wan-Bissaka again. Driving forward, or he attempted to, but he was stopped by Ramsey. Now Voltemada, just inside the West Ham half. Lays it off to his right to Barnes. And then back to Trippier. Into a more central area now to Guimaraes. Hall advancing forward from left back. Willock offering support on the overlap. Hall, just inside the area, tries to lift it in. Deflects. Put forward by Voltemada. To Ramsey. Can't quite feed it back through to the German international. And then Botman has to slide on Wilson. And it's eventually gone out for a throw-in for West Ham. Midway side their own half on that far side. It's Disassi on this near side, taking it beyond the halfway line. Working the ball to Diouf. Driving forward, trying to play the ball into the box to Somerville, just too far ahead of him. And it can be cleaned up by Chow. He finds Trippier, who will clear it. He slips as he does so. And it'll be calmly played back forward by Disasi into Souček. Mateus Fernandes. Somerville on this near side. Willock in front of him. Gets away from Willock. And from Barnes. The 1-2 with Diouf. Somerville in the area. Tries the shot. Deflects off Chow. Then back off Somerville. And it's a goal kick. That's a big opportunity. Finally, a bit of positive running forward from Somerville. Good 1-2 with Diouf. And then he's had the shot. Yeah, Cannon back off him. I don't think they've been helped tonight. West Ham United with the fact that Malik Chow and Sven Botman are playing really well. Double change for West Ham, so one of them will see Pablo come on. So Pablo will replace Thomas Souček. Yellow carded just moments before. And the second change, we'll see Wan-Bissaka come off. That's a surprise. So Wan-Bissaka and Souček off for Pablo and Mahamadou Kante. Coming on for just his 10th Premier League appearance of the season. 20 years of age, the Frenchman. So, again, a bit of a shift in shape. As Hermanson clears it just out of his 18-yard box. Out to the right-hand side. It's header off Hall, and it's going to be a throw-in for West Ham. So Kante's played in the middle. Looks like maybe Mateus Fernandes. He's going to operate as a right-sided player. No, it's going to be a back three of Mavropanos, Disasi and Diouf. So they've gone back to the back three to get more attackers on the pitch. And it looks like the wingers are going to almost have to act as wing-backs as well. Big kick forward towards Wilson. Botman goes down as he's shoved. And that's a free kick for Newcastle. Castellanos wanting to get him back to his feet as quickly as possible. Botman's just taking his time. I mean, that's a cheap free kick to give from the referee. I think they were both kind of shoving and pushing each other there, Wilson and Botman. Trippier on the ball. Forced to go back to his goalkeeper, Pope, who can clear it right-footed. It's a high one. It's misdirected, and it's a touch down from Tyndall, the assistant manager. And West Ham give it away from the throw-in. Pablo's just come on. Asula to the right side of the box to Willock. Squares it. Asula for the third. And it's a brace for William Asula. It's now 5 goals in his last 6 in the Premier League. It was a gift from the Hammers. But it's Asula who has put the nail in the coffin for West Ham this afternoon. 3-0 to Newcastle. And that goal was completely self-inflicted. A minute after making more changes, West Ham have been buried to the ground at St James's. It's a cool, calm finish from Asula. Ball went out of play. It was a throw-in for West Ham, which they wanted to take quickly, and they did. Diouf throwing it to Pablo, but the touch from Pablo as the throw-in was taken was poor, and it left a 3-on-3. Asula to Willock. Back across to Asula, about 12 yards out. Placing the ball into the back of the net beyond Hermanson. Again, all on his own to strike it. And when calm was needed, chaos was caused from such a poor throw-in, their own throw-in. It's a disaster. It's all going wrong for West Ham, who are facing relegation in the face. And they've not been relegated since 2011. And that 15-year stay in the Premier League looks like it's going to be coming to a close. It's Newcastle 3, West Ham 0. So silly. That throw-in, just calm things down. I understand they want to speed things up because they need a goal. But Pablo clearly was not ready. for the ball to be thrown to him. And you could tell by the way he took the touch, his body shape wasn't right. And they've been punished. And some West Ham supporters are going to start making their trip back down south. And that is some dejected looking away end up in the gods at St James's. They simply haven't been good enough today defensively, West Ham. I think going forward, they've half shown little glimpses, half chances, nothing major, but I mean defensively they've been ripped apart too many times. And West Ham have got Chelsea to hope upon to stop Spurs winning on Tuesday, because if Spurs draw or win that game, it is pretty much relegation confirmed. It will be confirmed if Tottenham win. Even if they draw, it'll be 3 points clear of West Ham, but their goal difference is going to be such a massive swing that West Ham won't be able to turn it around. So it will have to be a Chelsea win on Tuesday for West Ham to take it to the last day, relying on others, which is something they don't want. Guimaraes almost played through in the box, but it's been seen out by Disasi. Goal kick with 22 minutes to go. It's a long shot, and what a goal that is! Out of nothing, Castellanos has got one back for West Ham. The early substitute in the first half has got the deficit back down to 2. It's a long goal kick from Hermansen. It goes over Wilson and Botman, and from about 20 yards out, Castellanos has caught out Pope. Getting there in front of Chow, right-footed, he almost slips as he strikes. But it loops over the goalkeeper and in. That's a brilliant goal from Castellanos, who's now scored 5 in his 12 league games since joining in January. And could there still be a chance? Potentially. It's back down to 2. It's 3-1 Newcastle. And one back for West Ham. Castellanos to Bowen. Needs to play it. Is he tripped from behind? Referee says no. 2 clean challenges from Newcastle players, and it's still 3-1. 20 minutes to go. I mean, if Newcastle concede the next goal, then West Ham have got their tails up, and who knows what could happen. Disasi. Mavropanos. Hermansen. He's going to go for a long ball again. Out to the left side. Castellanos can't quite get it under control. Trippier clears the handball, and Castellanos though. It's Guimaraes forward to Voltemade, then into the space for Willock in the central area. Bursting forward. Laying it off to his left to Lewis Hall. Touch out of his feet. Delivery into the box. It's over Voltemade, who's fallen to the ground. It is going to be kept in by Trippier. Thought about crossing it quickly. Instead, going back slightly to Guimaraes. Forward to Voltemade, just inside the area. Slits it back through. Guimaraes with the shot. It's saved by the legs of Hermansen. And it stays at 3-1. Got to hold on for now, West Ham, because if they can just nick another goal, it's back on for the draw. I think Newcastle's attacking play tonight has been fantastic. I mean, it's been quick passing play. I mean, their goal difference is now level. They've scored 53 and conceded 53, but they've obviously been missing this season. The quick passing play, it's been superb. What a goal. Hope they can get 2 or more. I mean, that would be one hell of a story. I don't think they deserve a draw, West Ham. I think they've been too poor defensively. But the break could be on. They've won it back on the left-hand side. Castellanos, a ball around the corner for Somerville, who's gone full speed. But cannot force the ball forward as Trippier gets there first. And it's 18 minutes to go. West Ham looking for a first win away from home in the Premier League since the start of March. Ball over the top, and Castellanos with a header across. Not quite read by Wilson into the gloves of Nick Pope, who's not kept a clean sheet now in his last 10 games in the Premier League. Nick Pope, he's not kept one since Wolves away in the middle of January, given away by Ramsey. Mavropanos, forward, Pablo, Castellanos, needs to release it. Wilson fouled, is it? No, says the referee. He's back to his feet. He goes down again. Referee says no again. Needs to be cleared for Newcastle. Guimaraes to Ramsey. Into the middle. Misplaced. Mavropanos with a shot from afar. What on earth is he doing? Guimaraes telling Bowen to get lost. Not thinking there's a foul in there. Let's have a look. Wilson with the first one. There's contact. There certainly is contact. Is there enough for a penalty? I'm not too sure. I mean, Hall connects with Wilson first, for sure. Doesn't get the ball. Just seems a bit soft, personally, for me. And I think that's what's been seen. Cleared forward, headed away by Mavropanos. Controlled by Chow. Not got many options around him, and it's Bowen who nicks it off him. Bowen has got options right through the middle, left and right. Bowen will go on his own. It's right at Pope. The game's starting to open up, and West Ham are not punishing Newcastle at all. Cheaply given away by Chow, and Bowen has to release it. He has to. Somerville not getting out of his way, and then he hits it right through the middle. And that is a man who is lacking goal-scoring form. And that is Jarrod Bowen right now. He's not scored in any of his last 12 in the Premier League, Jarrod Bowen. He's not scored since Chelsea away, back on the 31st of January. It's not good enough. I mean, he has been assisting goals, Jarrod Bowen. He's got 4 assists in his last 5. Is it's going to be Newcastle's turn to make changes. Double change for Newcastle. Voltemada comes off, and so does Harvey Barnes. Dan Burney's on, as it looks like Newcastle are going to go to a back 5, which I don't think is the worst of ideas, to be completely honest. And the other change was obviously Barnes coming off and Murphy coming on, who scored the goal in Newcastle's 3-1 defeat to West Ham earlier on in the season. This time they're the team winning 3-1. Trippier hooks away, headed back forward by Castellanos. Burn to Chow, forward to Guimaraes. Releasing it, trying to play it in between the lines, but can't quite find Asula. It's now Fernandes for West Ham United. Goes out to the left, to Diouf. Then to Fernandes once more, everyone behind the ball for Newcastle. Fernandes, back out wide to Diouf, out of his feet. The whip cross goes in to Callum Wilson, and it's saved by Pope. Close. Very close from Wilson, who got there ahead of Burn with the almost outside of the boot kind of finish across goal. It was clever, but Pope was equal to it. And it's now with Newcastle on the far side, halfway line. Burn into Willock. Into the centre circle to Guimaraes. Ramsey, heavy touch, and it's going to be seen behind for a throw-in by Kante. He's going to leave it for Diouf to take. Fernandez in the centre circle, laying it off to his right. To Mavropanos. Just again, a little bit lacklustre with the movement at the moment, West Ham. Good switch, though, to Diouf from the left-hand side. Again, early cross will go in. That's a teasing ball. Goes through. Castellanos with the shot. It comes off the woodwork. Diouf with a delightful ball in. It goes off the head of Botman to Castellanos and he hits the woodwork. Good touch out of his feet. Slams it to the near post. I think he hits that almost corner of bar and post. And they can't let this get them down because West Ham are closing in on a second goal. And if they can get it soon, who knows how this game will end. Pope with a goal kick. It goes long up towards Asula. Header won by Mavropanos. Headed back forward by Byrne. Header won again by Mavropanos. Eventually to Bowen. To Pablo, who just about keeps it away from Byrne. Bowen tackled fairly by Guimaraes. You can play it forward to Willock. Pulled down by Kante. And that's going to be a free kick for Newcastle on that far side, just inside the West Ham half. Newcastle had lost 5 of their last 7 home league games. Winning their most recent one, though, to Brighton. 3-1. 11.5 minutes to go. Murphy attempting the shot. Blocked. He attempts it again, and it's an easy save for Hermansen. An attempt from around 25 yards out there from the substitute, Jacob Murphy, who's only scored once in the league since that goal away at West Ham, and that was at home to Everton back on the 28th of February. Clearly itching for another goal there, Murphy. But it's defending for him to do now as they attack his side. It's Diouf at left wing-back. Midway inside the Newcastle half, finding Somerville with a pass forward. Back 10 yards to Fernandez. Trying to dink ball towards the 18-yard box, but it's blocked and it falls to Asula, who's on a hat-trick. Asula dragged to the ground by Kante, and that's another free kick. And a kick away from Kante, which gets him a yellow card. I'm not quite sure why he's been brought on. Mohamedou Kante, the young 20-year-old midfielder. Not really been involved on the ball and then give away 2 fouls and then got himself a yellow card for kicking the ball away. I just find it interesting he's kind of opting to go for a Kante when he's got Freddie Potts on the bench. He's also got Sungutu Magasa, who I think's been a good player when I've seen him play the odd time for West Ham, a summer signing from Monaco. Scored in the game we commentated on, scored his only league goal, Magasa, away at Man United back at the start of December. Cross in from Guimaraes, headed the cross by Hall, volleyed away by Axel Disasi. 10 minutes to the 90 to go. Wilson trying to keep the ball in play, and he can't. Throwing on the halfway line for Newcastle. They try and see through these 3 points to get them on 49 points for the season. Finished on 66 last season. Newcastle finishing in 5th place with 20 league wins. And only finished 5th due to goal difference, who had 14 better goal difference to Aston Villa, who also finished on 66 points last season. Pope playing it to the right side to Trippier. Somerville coming to close him down. His pass is poor, intercepted by Castellanos. West Ham with the ball, 30 yards out. Fernandez to Diouf on the left flank. Forward to Somerville. Diouf making a run in towards the box. Somerville goes back inside instead to Fernandez. And then across to Mavropanos. Surely he won't shoot again. He won't. Ball into the area. Wilson. Bowen can't get out of his feet. Tackled. And then a ball forward by Asula. Can't quite find Willock. Cleaned up by Disasi to Diouf just in front of the halfway line for West Ham. Somerville. A little bit isolated on that left-hand side. Getting away from Murphy. Laying it off to Fernandez, and back out wide to Diouf. Again, out of his feet, and another cross. It's a good one. It comes off the head of Castellanos and up into the air and caught by Pope. Makes you think why Castellanos was dropped to the bench, because he has made an impact while being on the pitch. I know he came on early, but he's certainly got that fiery side to him, and he wants to make things happen. Mavropanos is defending in a very unconventional way there, and he concedes the throw-in. Fell on his backside, and then he's tried to lift the ball up between his legs. His Burn is away, and the cross goes into Murphy on the far side of the box. On his left foot, lays it off though with his right, it just slightly deflects away from Guimaraes. And Somerville brought down, back to his feet quickly. His players allowed to continue. Somerville stopped as he's been pulled back, and that's a free kick. Lewis Hall, knowing exactly what he's doing there. A sensible yellow card to pick up for the 21-year-old. Seven and a half minutes to go. Still Newcastle 3. West Ham 1. A brace from Asula. 1 from Voltemada. And a spectacular strike from Castellanos to get it back to 3-1. Directly from a goal kick. Through for Castellanos. So an assist for the goalkeeper, Mads Hermansen. Fernandez. To Pablo. Furthest wide is Diouf. Back inside to Pablo. Thinking about the ball into the area. In it goes to Castellanos, who heads it on, and it's saved by Pope. And the second ball into the grasp of Nick Pope. He has made huge saves this afternoon in the first half and the second. It's an intricate ball from Pablo. It's a good glancing header from Castellanos to the near post. But Pope's down low to save. And he is making sure this result stays as it is. Trippier, ball down the right channel, looking for Asula, who's on a hat-trick. He's going to battle with Disasi. Disasi can see it behind for a goal kick. Good defending from the Chelsea loanee. Signed previously from Monaco to join Chelsea Football Club. Wonder if he'll have any plans to stay. With Xabi Alonso joining Chelsea announced this morning. Long ball forward, headed away by Hall. Chested down by Guimaraes in the middle of the park. Too much space for him. But that's closed down by Kante. He wins a free kick after a shove from the Brazilian. And it's going to be another double change for Newcastle. And it's going to be 2 changes which will bring some almighty pace. As I think Newcastle are going to revert to a back 4. Because Kieran Trippier is walking off St James's pitch for the final time. He's been great today. Down that right-hand side, you can see exactly why he's had the career he has had. And he'll be replaced by Anthony Elanga. So potentially Lewis Hall coming out to play right back. Dan Burn to left back, and then back 2 with Chow and Botman. And the second change of the 2, which sees Johan Wisser come on. And he's replaced Asula, who will be slightly frustrated because he is on a hat-trick. Long ball forward for West Ham, can't be kept in by Pablo. And that's going to be a goal kick for Newcastle United. What a fantastic career he's had at the top level, Kieran Trippier. Of course, we don't know what's happening next in his career. He's not saying he's retiring, even though he's turning 36 in September. But that was his 225th Premier League appearance of his career. Of course, a lot of them also for Spurs, collecting 39 assists in his Premier League career, which is, a real strong tally for a fullback. I think the likes of Robertson and Alexander-Arnold almost took assist-making off the charts. So 39 for a defender is still very good going for Kieran Trippier. As Pope has it. Playing it out to the left side here to Pope. They've kept the back 5. It's Jacob Murphy who's going to drop in to a right wing-back position for Newcastle. As it's a throw-in for Newcastle. Just in their left-back position here with the number 33, Dan Burn, who's got 1 more year left on his contract. I 15 years ago, he was playing in the 5th tier of English football, Dan Burn. Now he's an England international and a Champions League scorer. Murphy. Touch isn't great. Somerville nips in and gets there. Somerville in the box. Can't quite beat Murphy. It's a bit scrappy. It's bouncing around. It's eventually cleared by Chow. Up to Alanga, who's got there ahead of Diouf. Well held, and then the camera pans to Trippier being interviewed on the side of the pitch, which we don't need to see. As Newcastle play out from the back. Alanga stopped in his tracks by Pablo, but the loose ball is played back forward by Ramsey into Alanga. It's now Willock who assisted the third. Will he assist the potential fourth? Willock to Hall in the area, shooting across goal. It's well blocked by Mavropanos. Back with Hall though on the edge of the area, thinking about a cross. Playing it down the line for Willock. Lifting it with a scoot ball to Hall, who tries the shot, comes off Disasi. And that's going to be a corner on the far side for Newcastle as time runs away for West Ham, as it looks like they're going to have to hope and pray that Chelsea do them a favour on Tuesday night, because they can be relegated on Tuesday if Spurs win at the Bridge, and it'll pretty much be done if they draw as well, because the goal difference swing will be so big. It's going to be an in-swinger for Newcastle from Guimaraes if he decides to put it in directly. Guimaraes straight into the box near post, headed away by Pablo. Fernandez will chase it for West Ham, but it'll be Ramsey to get there first. It's now with Hall on the left-hand side, trying to play it through, well blocked by Pablo. And the ball rolls for a throw-in for Newcastle. Less than 2 minutes of the 90 to play. They're going to start taking their time. Burn with a throw down the line to Hall towards the corner flag. Surrounded by Mavropanos and Pablo. And it will be a goal kick as the last touch comes off Hall. Needs to get going quickly here, West Ham United. Diouf. Down the left channel. A back heel from Castellanos, which doesn't quite work, and it's Murphy to win it back for Newcastle. And it's thrown back to the number 12, Malik Chow, who returned to the Germany setup in the March international break. Didn't quite get on the pitch for Germany, but he's back in with around the squad, which is always positive coming up into a World Cup summer. Botman, dink ball down the left channel, brilliantly finds Willock, who's been good off the bench. Loses out though to Kante. Now Fernandez into the middle of the pitch to Somerville, turns forward. Can he find a pass into the area? Somerville still has it, plays it out to the left to Fernandez. Back to Diouf, who crosses to the back post. It's well held by Nick Pope. Very strong performance this afternoon from Newcastle's number one. Someone who'll be wanting to try and get in the England setup. He's not been in an England squad since October 2024. As we're closing in on the 90th minute, Guimaraes forward and out to the left to Burn. Inside to Willock. Keeps it away from Kante. Willock into the area. On the left-hand side. Turning, facing forward and having a shot, which cannons off Kante. And that's going to be a corner on the far side as Willock having a go at Alanga there. A little bit of beef between the two teammates. Oh, it's Guimaraes she's having a go at. I thought it was Alanga. It's Guimaraes and Willock who are arguing with each other. Shows the standards they must have. 7 minutes added on. Yeah, clearly not happy with the decision of Willock trying to shoot there. It's going to be retaken here. Referee not happy with how it was taken originally. Not sure why. Eventually taken short. Ramsey to Guimaraes into the space for Hall, over hit. Goal kick. For the Hammers, need to get on with it. They've got 6 minutes to go. Mavropanos in the 18-yard box because they've gone short, and then goes across to Disasi, taking too long. I mean, they're on 39. They're on 36 points, West Ham. They were last relegated in 2011 on 33. Fernandez to Pablo. Centre of the pitch, midway inside the Newcastle half. Feeds it out to the left side to Diouf, who can cross it, and he will cross it off the chest of Murphy at the near post. Then played forward to Guimaraes, shoved from behind by Castellanos, and that's going to be a free kick for Newcastle, as it looks like it's going to come to a painful ending here for West Ham United, who got a goal through Castellanos with 20 minutes to go, but not quite been able to really gain much more from it. Not been able to have kicked on as much as they would have liked, because West Ham had won the two of the previous 3 against Newcastle, but before that they'd only won 1 of the previous 10. And West Ham have only won 6 Premier League games here at St James's Park. And it's no clean sheets in the last 8 now in all competitions for Newcastle. Their last one against Chelsea in mid-March in the Premier League. Conceded 16 in their last 7. Conceding 1 in each of their last 3. As Diouf shows his frustration on this near side. I think trying to kick a bottle there, was he, potentially? As in this situation for West Ham, it's frustrating because they physically really can't lose, but they have lost, but they've lost in a way that's frustrating because the defensive side has been so poor, and then they've just not been quite able to click attacking. Burn out to the far side, plenty of space here for Lewis Hall. And the ball down the left channel looking for the runner Willock. Is well cut out there by Mavropanos, who can dink it forward to Pablo just inside the Newcastle half. Shows too much of it to Guimaraes, but the ball is won back by Pablo. Needs to release it quicker. Finds Somerville, one-on-one with Murphy. Crescencio Somerville driving inside. Superbly done. He continues Somerville, and then caught by Guimaraes, who is already yellow carded. That should be a second yellow. But he's going to refrain from getting the second yellow card out. That's a wild tackle to make. Somerville is quite clearly West Ham's best player. How is that not a second yellow card? Am I going crazy? Guimaraes has got nowhere near the ball, aggressively kicked right on the shin as Somerville. I don't know if you're watching the game and you can see the game, please let me know what you think. But that's a second yellow card. I tell you right now, for sure, if Guimaraes is not on a yellow card, he gets one there. That's just reckless. That's more why I'm thinking it's a foul. It's just completely reckless. Got away one there, Guimaraes. Less than 3 minutes for West Ham. 22 yards out. Castellanos straight at the ball. And it loops up for an easy catch for Pope. That sums up West Ham's season at the moment. That is a shocking free kick from Castellanos, who has scored a superb goal to get them back to 3-1. But that's a complete waste. Botman slips on the ball. Fernandez trying to take it away. Now with Fernandez on the right-hand side. Through to Bowen towards the corner flag. Early cross goes in. Over the head of Wilson. Glanced away by Murphy. Kept alive by Somerville. Disasi. Fernandez. Centre of the park is Kante. Tries to work it to the left. Cut out by Murphy. Less than 2 minutes to go. Murphy gets around Kante. Plenty of bodies forward for Newcastle to score a 4th. Jacob Murphy crosses and they volley from Alanga on the penalty spot over the bar. It's been a frustrating summer. Been a frustrating season, the summer signing Anthony Alanga, who's only scored 3 goals for Newcastle. But to be fair, he scored a brace away at Barcelona in their 7-2 defeat, and then also scored away at the Etihad. So he scored in impressive stadiums at big teams, but yeah, not really showing what he was about at Forest here at Newcastle. Just over a minute to go. And West Ham can no longer dictate the relegation spot. It is up to Tottenham and Chelsea on Tuesday. Wissa can't quite hold up the ball. Somerville on this near side. Tackle from behind by Wissa. Good recovery from the striker. As Guimaraes lands on the head of Disasi. That will hurt. It's going to be a throw-in, I think, for Newcastle, just inside their own half on this near side. 30 seconds to go here at St James's Park. West Ham beat Newcastle 3-1 at the London Stadium all the way back in November. And it's flipped right on its head this time around in the middle of May. Murphy with a long throw down the right channel. Wissa's going to chase it. Wissa won't get there. It's going to be a goal kick for West Ham, but I think this will be fired up into the air and it'll pretty much be time. And they've gone short. How on earth have they gone short from that goal kick? Eventually it goes long. Headed on by Somerville straight into the middle of the park here towards Ramsey. As Ramsey goes up with Fernandez, we've played the 7 minutes and the referee blows for full time at St James's Park. Nuno Espirito Santo shakes the hand of Eddie Howe as it is all up to Spurs on Tuesday night. West Ham remain 2 points off 17th place with a goal difference which is not a good look at all. 13 is the difference, on -9 for Spurs and -22 for West Ham. It's been a disaster in the northeast for the Hammers, because if Spurs draw, even though it's not mathematically done in terms of points due to that goal difference, relegation will be pretty much confirmed. A win for Spurs will all but confirm it for sure, as that would put Spurs 5 points clear of West Ham. It's been a complete and utter disaster. It started with a goal in the 15th minute through Nick Voltemada, a volley from 6 yards out, shocking defending, and Asula scored 4 minutes later with a ball through the legs of Hermansen. And then he got his second 20 minutes into the second half, Asula with another free finish into the area, well taken. But then just a couple of moments later from a goal kick, it went over the head of Botman and Wilson. An early finish from Castellanos 20 yards out, looped over Pope. And it was a fantastic goal, but not enough to start a West Ham comeback. They huff, they puff, they just couldn't quite beat Pope, who was brilliant today. The Newcastle goalkeeper made some terrific saves and probably deserved the clean sheet, which he didn't quite get. But that's going to be the end of the live commentary. Hope you did enjoy. Make sure you like and subscribe if you didn't already. Great commentaries, mate. Thank you very much. I don't know when the next commentary will be. I don't know if there'll be another one this season. I'll try. But the next one will probably be during the World Cup. I definitely want to get a few World Cup ones done if possible. So subscribe with notifications on so you know when and which games I'll be doing in the summer. But here at St James's Park, Newcastle have started to find a little bit of form. It's 3 unbeaten now in the league. 2 wins in their last 3. Both of their wins in that run have come here at home. They've both been 3-1. They've been playing some liquid football this afternoon. And those 2 opening goals was the image of that Harvey Barnes with a cross into Voltemada for the first. Asula with a ball through from Ramsey to finish the second. And then the third, again, a nice pass, a 1-2 between Asula and Willock, with Asula finishing to make it 3-0. Castellanos got one back for 3-1. It was a spectacular effort over Pope, but it was too little, too late. And it's Newcastle who take the 3 points home after a win here at St James's Park, where it finishes Newcastle 3, West Ham 1. Can Spurs relegate West Ham on Tuesday night? We'll have to wait and see, but it finishes 3-1 here at St James's Park.